Aix-en-Provence, in the south of France. The two ultrasound physicists Matthias Fink and Michael Tonterre have brought us here to the town's market square. They have triggered a revolution in ultrasound diagnostics. But before they show it to us, they want to demonstrate how their invention first occurred to them, with cheese and an idea.
Notre première idée, en 1994.
In 1994, we had the idea to build a very simple machine for use with cheese or foie gras.
Sur un foie gras,
A small device to measure the hardness of cheese or foie gras, but which could also work on
En fait,
humans.
on a développé ce premier appareil que ça pouvait aussi marcher sur l'homme.
Since 1990, the two ultrasound researchers have been working on so-called shear waves, which, when triggered by a pulse, propagate in soft tissue at a speed that depends on tissue elasticity. If the shear waves hit solid tissue, such as a tumor, they're transmitted more quickly. Matthias Fink and Michael Tonterre wanted to exploit this property to develop a completely new diagnostic method for medicine. To do this, they invented a technique that not only triggers shear waves, but can also measure them at the same time. Based on their plans, completely new ultrasound devices are now being built in Aix-en-Provence that can measure the elasticity of human tissue and, for example, be used in the early detection of cancer. The use of this super-fast ultrasound and elasticity measurement significantly improves cancer diagnosis, especially diagnosis of breast cancer. The number of breast biopsies can be reduced by more than 50%, and that's very good for the patients. The first device to use ultrasound and shear waves to detect cancerous tumors in the body and measure their danger based solely on how solid the tumor tissue is nicknamed the Explorer. And the scanner starts off by delivering classic ultrasound images. What makes the device so special is a small button. When pressed, it brings the shear waves into play, and colored areas appear on the monitor. These colors show doctors how rigid or elastic an organ is. This is the liver. Red means that the liver is very hard. Blue means that the liver is soft. And how hard the liver is says something about its condition. For example, whether there's liver fibrosis. Based on the elasticity of the tissue, the scanner even reads whether a tumor is dangerous or not. Shown here in red is a malignant node with type 3 breast cancer. The fibroadenoma, shown in blue, is a harmless lump. How stiff or firm a lump is says something about its malignancy. For this, the ultrasound scanner invented by the two researchers sends strong targeted impulses into the tissue, thus triggering the shear waves. By means of a new type of ultrasound waves, so-called plane waves, which also form part of the two researchers' invention, the scanner can detect the movement of the shear waves and thus measure how elastic or stiff the tissue is. The researchers were the first ever to succeed in ultrasonically tracking the shear waves triggered by their technology in the tissue. These are the images. The speed of each individual pixel tells us about the elasticity of the tissue and whether a tumor has formed or not.
L'originalité de notre système.
The special feature of our system is that with the help of ultrasound, we can make a film of the inside of the tissue with 10,000 images per second with an ultra-fast ultrasound camera. And this was one of the most essential parts of our invention.
Partie les plus essentielles de notre invention.
Shear wave technology has prevented millions of unnecessary biopsies in the screening of the breasts, the liver, and many other organs. With their team in Aix-en-Provence, the two physicists are constantly inventing new applications. For example, their Explorer can now also be used to examine tissue stiffening inside the heart. With their startup, Ultrasonic Imagine, the researchers have already revolutionized ultrasound diagnostics. Thanks to the shear waves. And a piece of cheese. And sometimes the researchers even have a little time to enjoy it.